Hello and welcome back to my channel yet again, and this time we're doing another different video idea. Today we're back in the Premier League, and similar to what we did with League One, we're going to predict what I think the Premier League table will look like in 10 years. Now, can we get 15 likes on this video? Can you subscribe if you are new to the channel? And without further ado, let's jump straight into 20th position. Now in 20th I have predicted Fulham. Now, Fulham have seemed to be in recent years a team that come up, spend loads of money, go down, and then do the same again. They seem to just go up, down, up, down, up, down. And as a reason, I think they'll continue to do that for quite a while. Hence why I think they'll finish 20th in 10 years. Maybe they might have stayed in the Premier League for a bit before that, but I don't know. And then in 19th, I've predicted another Premier League club that's been here for a while. They even delved into Europe a couple of years back. That is Burnley. I think that whether or not they've come back, they've gone down and come back up before then, I think Burnley will be getting relegated in the 10 years. Possibly they could stay in the Premier League until then, but I think something will happen. They could lose a couple of their best players. You know, Tarkowski, Pope, McNeil as well. They could end up leaving, and then Burnley not much back up there. So I reckon that could affect them, and I think they'll be ended up in 19th. In 18th then I've predicted Norwich. I think the Canaries will be ending up down back into the Championship. Another club just like Fulham who love to bounce between the two divisions. It's like they play ping pong, Premier League versus Championship, and the Norwich is the ball. Bing, 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 between the two, trying to work out where they're going to stay. No one winning the point, they're just continuously bouncing between them. Norwich will be coming up again this season. Will they be going down again next? That is the big question. I think probably they will, because they always do. But you never know. They could, Cantwell's a good player. Pookie needs to just keep his form up for them, and they've got a few good players there as well. Maybe they could stay up. But in 10 years, I reckon Norwich will be making up the bottom three in the Premier League. Now, in 17th is a new Premier League club. It's not a club that's currently there. It's not a club that's been there recently. This is Brentford. Now, I think Brentford will finally make it to the promised land of the Premier League in 10 years. Whether or not that's their first season, I'm not going to say, because they could end up going up this season, next season. But the way Brentford has set out recently is very good, developing young talents. You just look at the Premier League now, you've got Ollie Watkins from Brentford, and you've also got Ben Rama at West Ham. They lost those two players, yet they're still third in the Championship. They've now got a man called Ivan Toney, ex-Peterborough, banging the goals in the Championship. And I think eventually he'll carry them to the Premier League. And if they lose him, they can buy someone else. They seem to be very, very good at recruitment. And they've got some very good players. You know, Brian Mbuemo's still there. Sergi Canos, Ivan Toney, as I've already mentioned. They've got some very good players, and I think they'll make it to the Premier League. Now, in 16th, there is another Championship club, but one that has been there before and could be there next season. This is Watford. Now, the club that Ben Foster, the Cycling GK, is currently at, I think will be getting promoted this season, but I don't know whether they'll stay there. Watford are another club that they're not necessarily a big Premier League club. They're not necessarily a Premier League club. They're kind of bit too good for the Championship, not quite cutting it in the Premier League. And I think they'll stay there in 10 years. And I don't think they'll slide to like League One or anything. But I think they'll be in the Premier League in 10 years, staying up, not doing anything while there, but maybe getting a couple of surprise wins, surprise performances. But still, and most importantly, they'll still be in the Premier League. Now, in 15th, I've put the club to climb the most. Now, they were featured in my League One table, the League One 10-year predictions. That is Sunderland. I said they'd be in the Premier League, and I think they will be 15th in the Premier League in 10 years. Now, I don't know whether they will be. I know they'll be there, because you look at the club setup at the minute. Their owner has said he'll spend £60 million if they get promoted to the Championship to keep them there, and that's going to keep them up, isn't it? You know, Fulham spent £100 million to stay in the Premier League. Okay, they didn't. But that amount of money would keep any team in the Premier League. We move on now, though, to 14th in the Premier League and still in the bottom half, and I've put Southampton there. Pompey's rivals, but I still think they'll still be in the Premier League. They've got some good talent at the club. They're doing well they were doing well this season. They've slipped off a bit now. Whether or not they delve back into the Championship in this 10-year period and then come back up, I'm not going to say, because I don't really know. But I think they will be in the Premier League still in 10 years. Now into 13th, where we have a club that looked to be class a couple of seasons ago. They've dropped off. They were in Europe last season. That is Wolverhampton Wanderers, and I think they will make up 13th in the Premier League. They're a good club with good setup with the Portuguese links, but if they lose Nuno, they lose a couple of players. Matinho's not getting younger, neither is Patricio. neither is Neves. All these players aren't necessarily the youngest. Now once again, all I can do there is apologise. My phone has ended recording with 3 gigabytes free, saying that there's no storage left. So I don't know why, but we're going to move on. I said Wolves were going to be 13th, so we'll move to 12th, where I have put Aston Villa. Now I think Villa will be able to build on what they've got right now. I think Grealish will most likely stay, as he is a boyhood Villa fan. And I think they will be 12th in 10 years. Now 11th, I have put another current Premier League club in Leeds United. I think Leeds will be there simply because of the fact Bielsa can build on what he's got now. You know, they beat City yesterday. Not every team can beat City. And okay, I'm saying in 10 years, and you know, this season is different to when it will be then. But, you know, they can get rid of players, they can bring new ones in. Bielsa can develop the youngsters to be what he wants them to be. I just think their club is going in the right direction. Now in 10th, we have another club that it could surprise a lot of people that I've put them here. That is Crystal Palace. Now I've put Palace to be 10th simply because of a couple of young talents. Most notably of those is Eberici Eze. Now, yeah, people will say Zaha's not getting younger and a couple of other players aren't either. But they can build with Eze. Zaha can develop another striker to be just as good as him maybe. They can invest in some more players. They could even sell Zaha while he's worth something and bring someone new in, a bit younger. And Premier League attraction is a big, big thing in football. You know, you could say, come to us. Oh, why would I want to come to you? We're in the Premier League. Oh, right, right, I'll sign it. I think Palace will be getting a couple of signings in. I think they'll be 10th. We're moving to the top half now, though, with West Ham United. Now, they did beat Leicester 3-2 today to move back into the Champions League places. But I think they won't be in there in 10 years. You know, this season's a one-off for West Ham. Maybe they could build on it and keep it going, just as Leicester did all those years ago, 5 years ago, I think it was now. But I think, you know, for West Ham, it's one of those things where they do need to build a bit more. They have a very, very, very good squad at the moment for what their club size is, realistically. And, you know, those players aren't getting younger. That's the thing I'm going to mention. Kufau is good, not very young. Lingard, if he stays, is also not very young. Antonio, not very young. They do have a couple of youngsters, though. You know, Declan Rice, most notably. But are they good enough to cut it for Champions League? No. And I think with investment, they can be 9th in the Premier League. And they will need that investment as well. Now, 8th is one of my most controversial predictions. And obviously, if your club isn't in this list, it means you're in the Championship or League One. Probably the Championship, though, because Premier League clubs to go to League One in 10 years isn't unlikely, but very surprising if it does, especially given the financial aspects of today's game. But I've put Leicester to be 8th in the Premier League in 10 years, and that's because of one main reason. And that is because simply I think they'd need too much investment to keep up with all these big clubs. You know, yes, they do have very rich owners, and yes, they do have a very good squad, but they're not getting younger. Johnny Evans at the back and Jamie Vardy in attack. They're not young. 10 years, they'll be retired. You know, Soyuncu's not too old, but even then he could be gone. James Justin left back, he's young as well. He'll be there probably in 10 years. But the thing with Leicester is, there's nothing stopping the big clubs coming in for their players. If you get an offer from Man United as a Leicester player, you're going to go there. Realistically, you are. And people will say, well, Leicester are above Man United. Why would they do that? At the minute, they're not. But the main point is, Leicester have finished above them in recent years. Why? You have Man United as a club are up here. Leicester are about there in terms of club size. Man United are one of the biggest clubs in the world. If they come in for your players, they'll take them. And James Maddison is getting offers from all around. You know, Man City will probably come in for him as well. So I think Leicester will be a bit of their squad will be taken away, and I think they'll be 8th in the Premier League in 10 years. Now, 7th, we will move on to now. It's not Leicester. I've put Everton to be there. I think Carlo Ancelotti will develop them into a European side in 7th. You know, 7th is a European place sometimes, and I think it's guaranteed now. I'm not really sure. But I think Everton will be there. You know, they can develop the players they've got. Moise Kean is coming back off loan from PSG, I believe. I think he's on loan there. If not, then either way, they've got some young talent. Ben Godfrey's not old either. You know, there's players there that Ancelotti can make use of for now and then develop what he wants in the future. Whether or not he's still there, you never know. But they'll have a key point. They'll have a key thing they want to do. They'll do it and they'll be in Europe. I can assure you of that. We'll move on to the top 6 now, and this is what everyone wants to be in, is the top 6. The guaranteed European football. In 6th, though, it is Tottenham Hotspur or Spurs. I think they'll be 6th. And people will say, well, why won't they be in the Champions League? Well, Kane has said he wants to leave if they're not finishing in the top 4 this season. Son isn't getting any younger. Alderweireld isn't getting any younger. Lloris isn't getting any younger. Their squad is a very ageing squad now. And yes, you can invest. And yes, they do have a couple of younger players. But I think give it 10 years, Tottenham will be 6th. Still in Europe, because they still will have to replace these players. But I think not Champions League with the replacements they'll get in. Now, 5th, I have put Chelsea. Now, people will probably come at me saying, oh, Chelsea, well, they've got some young talents. They're very good young talents as well. Havertz, Hudson-Odoi. Yes, but it's about how you use them. Do they have too many young talents? You know, have they performed to their proper ability this season? Okay, Tuchel has got Chelsea playing brilliantly, but these young talents as well, some of them are going to be too old then. Will they hit their potential? Will they not? That's the question. I don't think a couple of them will. I think a couple of these people that Chelsea fans are saying are going to be world class won't be. I think they'll be good enough for Europe, but not Champions League. Now, 4th is going to be another controversial one, bearing in mind I've left Chelsea out. I think Arsenal Football Club will be in 4th in the Premier League in 10 years. Simply because of 2 or 3 men. Now, 2 of them are permanent, and that is Saka and Smith Rowe. One of them's temporary at the moment, but that is Martin Odegaard, who they do want in permanently. They've also got people like Gabriel at centre-back, who are very young. And I think these players, give them the right amount of development, and they'll carry Arsenal back to the Champions League. Not to the title, but to the Champions League. I think, yeah, you know, Aubameyang's still getting younger, neither's Lacazette. Leno's not getting younger, but he is still a good keeper. There's players there that aren't young, but you just have to replace them right. And I think Arsenal will. I think with the right investment, and this is key, maybe without investment they won't get 4th, but with the right investment they will. And I think they'll do it fairly easily. Now in 3rd, I've put the team whose top I am wearing today. That is Liverpool. I think they'll be back in the Champions League. This season is just a dark season. It's one of those where I don't think it will happen again. And I think many people will say, okay, it's been a bad one, but next season with fans back in, they'll be back to where they were before. And yeah, I'd agree with that. Hence why I put them 3rd. I think maybe not Premier League title then, or maybe even they won't be in the top 4, who knows. But I've put them 3rd simply because I think they'll win a Premier League before then again, because their squad is good enough, you know. And there's some good young players there. Trent Alexander-Arnold is fairly young. Robertson is not young, but he's not old either. Van Dijk is getting older, but he's replaceable. And there's Curtis Jones will be good in the future with the right development. Jota isn't young, but he's not old by any means. So it's definitely one of those. But the top 2 is both Manchester clubs. Manchester will have something to smile about, but which one have I put in first? But in second, first of all, I've put Manchester United. I just simply think Man United won't be necessarily beating City in 10 years. They may have pipped them to a couple of Premier Leagues before then, or maybe just one. But I think United will be back. Not back to their best, but they'll be back to what they want to be at. Even this season, United is second. Yes, it's been a poor season from a lot of clubs, but United have capitalised and they're in second place. They may be 8 points, well, what is it? If they win their games in hand, they're 8 points behind their City rivals. But I think they'll be back into second place in 10 years. I think with the likes of Greenwood, carrying them through, Dean Henderson in goal as well. They've got some good young talent there. And I think they'll be able to replace the ones they lose as well. Rashford as well, he's not too old. But I think given their club size, they can bring in a lot of players. They get back into the Champions League gradually, they can bring in top players, big earners, big spenders United can be, and they can well and truly put their muscle back on the Premier League. But in first, it will be Manchester City lifting the Premier League in 10 years. Whether this is their 15th Premier League, whether it's their 20th, whether it's their 25th, I don't know how many they've won at the moment. But it will be another one for them, I reckon. Their club at the minute, the players are very, very good. They're very world class. Foden coming through. Ferran Torres is a good player as well. Diaz is only, I think, 21 or to 23. He's around that kind of age. I can't remember exactly what one he is. They've got players all over the pitch that are younger, but they've also got older ones. Jesus isn't old either. But then they can develop younger players. And City have them oil money. They have a lot of that. They can go, how much do you want for him? Oh, yeah, right, lovely. And one key man, I think, if they get him in, they'll be winning the Premier League a lot, is Erling Braut Haaland. I think they get him in, they'll be sorted. And I think they will get him in, simply because his dad was a City. Well, whether he's a legend, I don't know. I'm not a City fan. But in my opinion, he would have been. But that is where this video and predictions end. I hope you have enjoyed. I hope you agree with me. Put down below what you think what you think will be the Premier League in 10 years. Whether there's going to be any surprise additions in there. As I said, anything could happen. You know, Pompey were a Premier League club, and then they hit financial troubles, went to League Two. It can happen, and that was in the space of what, 5 years. But anyway, that is where this video does end. Can we get 10 likes in this video? Please, 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 if you are new, do leave a subscription down below. But I will see you in the next video. But before I do end it, I apologise for not having a Football Manager video out. If you want to see one, put it down below. What club, what kind of things you want to see on it. I will get it out. I couldn't record it. And also, it's Monday tomorrow, which means hairdressers are back open and outdoor restaurants and other things as well. So I can get a haircut finally. You can as well if you want one. You can go and socialise slightly again, which feels a lot better to be able to say that. But most of all, enjoy your days tomorrow. If there's not a video, it's because I've gone to see some people. Well, my dad most notably. But there should be anyway. I'll get one done for you. Maybe it will be Football Manager one. You never know. But I will see you soon. Thank you for watching.